Welcome aboard, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health, welcoming you to another live edition of Fire Your MD Now. How about that? The Dr. Glidden Show. Check it out. You want to join the live video stream? The drgliddenshow.tv is exactly where you want to be. The drgliddenshow.tv. Check it out. Tune in and turn on, because there is so much to know and tell. And if you go to the drgliddenshow.tv, you will have for free immediate entry into our chat room, our worldwide chat room, in which currently there exists in real time, in living black and white text, 54 people from all around the world. Lindy, Tyler, Amos, Bonnie, Bob in Amarillo, Bill in St. Louis, Candace in Ohio, David in Winnipeg, Eric, Elaine, Diane in Lubbock, Harvey in Sacramento, Grandma Jean, Jim from Florida, Gabriel, JJ, Jim in Arizona, Jack, Jan, Helen from Greece, not to be confused with Helen from Troy, Joanne, John Devereaux, Judy in Ohio, Kim, Levi in St. Louis, Louis Bomir, Loretta, Michael, Magumi, Domo, Arigato, Magumi. Teresa, Nancy G, Miguel, Murray, Mike Pannoni, Yo-Yo Mike Pannoni, Exit 63, New Jersey. Rondell Wilson in Grenada. How about that? Okay, Jim. Catherine Teresa T-Ray, and too many other people to mention. Serge in the UK, Catherine Stockman, Jeff and Encinitas, Ed, Cuthbert, Thomas, Tommy Starr, Susan, Val, Vicky Joe. 58 people now in the room. Check it out. Sounds like a room full of fun to me. So why don't you go there yourself, join the live chat, and educate yourself into the bargain. That's what we're all about here in Longevity Nation, in Dr. Glidden Nation. Knowledge and information. We're encouraging people to just ask themselves the simple question: how do I feel while I have given myself over to the care of my MD? For the last 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, or 80, or 90 years, how has my health gone? Am I getting healthier and healthier? Am I feeling better and better? Have I plateaued at a level where I'm good with my energy, good with my mood, good with my sleep, good with my memory, good with my muscles, bones, and joints, and digestion, and breathing, and my heart? Am I good with all of these things? Are these things good and working well for me? Do I feel as if my hard-earned money in the form of medical insurance premiums, which I have to pay every month now, mandated by the government in the U.S., if you're a member of a country where there's socialized medicine, they don't even give you a choice. And so ask yourself, am I happy? Is it a good expenditure of funds? $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month. Is that a good expenditure of funds? What have I received in return for that investment? I'm investing in my health, aren't I? I mean, aren't the MDs the king of the castle when it comes to health care? Aren't they the ones that practice health care? Aren't they the ones that have kicked everybody else off of the bus of medicine? Aren't they the ones that have legislated themselves into a self-policing monopoly? Yes, they are. Well, since I've aligned myself with those men and women, boys and girls, how am I doing? Am I better now than I was 5 years ago? Or am I worse? Do I need a prescription medication to wake up, a prescription medication to fall asleep? A prescription medication to pee, a prescription medication not to pee? How's my hearing? How are my teeth? How's my back? How are my muscles? How's my blood pressure? How's my blood sugar? How are my relatives doing into the bargain? Ladies and gentlemen, when you just ask yourself the simple question, how am I doing? How am I feeling? Just ask it to yourself. Don't look around for comparison, because everybody's in the same boat. All of your neighbors, all of your family members, all of your church members and community members have all drunk from the same cup. They all have. Everybody in this country, everybody around the world in industrialized nations is invested lock, stock, and barrel with the MD method. And so when everybody's invested in the MD method, we look around and we believe that poor health is the norm. Because look around, everybody's sick. Everybody takes at least 3 prescription medications. Most people take 6 when they're over the age of 40. So we look around and we see that all our friends and family members are sick and suffering. We see that all of our cousins are sick and suffering. We see that everybody in our church is sick and suffering. And so we kind of just believe that that's life and that's the only way that there is. Well, I don't want you to ask yourself the question in comparison to other people. I just want you to ask yourself the question in comparison to yourself. How are you doing? How are you feeling? How are you feeling? If you're happy with where you're at in your life, if you're completely happy with everything, then you can turn this station off right now because I have nothing for you. But if, in point of fact, you are sick and tired, and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, you have come to exactly the right place. If there's a little voice in the back of your mind that says, you know what, my medical doctor really doesn't know what to do to help me. All they do is throw drugs and recommend surgery at my problem. That's all they do. They have a holier-than-thou attitude. They always talk down to me. I like the nurses. The nurses talk to me. I like the secretary, the receptionist. They're good to me. But that doctor, very, very clinical, very, very detached. The doctor really doesn't care about me. I don't get the sense. And even when you find a doctor that does take the time to talk to you, how are the therapeutics? Well, they're not very good. Is your blood pressure cured? No, it's managed. Is your heartburn cured? No, it's managed. How about your arthritis? Is that cured? No, it's managed. How are you doing? How is your wife, your husband, your sister, your brother, your son, your daughter? How is everybody doing? Quite frankly, not well. Leading cause of death in the United States, MD-directed medical therapeutics, 780,000 people a year are killed because they go to a medical doctor. That's nearly 1 million people a year. If postal workers killed 1 million people a year, would there be a public hearing? Yeah, there'd be outrage. If 5th grade school teachers killed 1 million people a year, would there be a public hearing? Yeah, there'd be congressional hearings. Heads would roll. People would go to jail. If, a beer company killed 1 million people a year, you think they'd be in business? Not for very long. If an automobile manufacturer made an automobile that killed 1 million people a year, would they be in business? Not very long. But when the MDs kill nearly 1 million people a year, they get a pass. Because they are the only aspect of our society which is self-policing, self-regulating. They kill us, we give them a pass. They bankrupt us, we give them a pass. They harm us, we give them a pass. They fail us, we give them a pass. We have become completely enrolled in MD-directed, mediocre, monopolistic, a Machiavellian medicine delivered to you for a profit. This is the only thing that we know in the culture that we've come up in. You know, you only know what you know, and the stuff that you didn't know, that's the stuff, when you have access to that stuff, that's where you have a eureka moment, and that's my job. To give every single person in my listening audience, a eureka moment every single day. Son of a gun, I didn't know that. I didn't know that MDs weren't trained to cure disease. I had no idea. I didn't know that my psychiatrist didn't think that consciousness was a real thing and that consciousness is merely a function of biochemistry. I didn't know that. I didn't know my MD didn't know how to cure heartburn. I didn't know that. I didn't even know I didn't know that. And so forth and so on, until, regretfully, death do us part. So, eureka moment number 1. Your medical doctor may be the nicest person God ever created, but they do not know what's best for you. They only know what they've been trained in. And what they've been trained in is a small subset of medicine. It's called allopathic reductionism. Your medical doctor does not practice medicine. They practice allopathic medicine, and allopathic medicine is best suited for surgery when it's absolutely necessary, and a handful of infectious diseases. For everything, trauma care. For everything else, MD-directed medical treatment is ridiculous. You wouldn't go to a chiropractor for open heart surgery, would you? No. If you, fell off of a motorcycle and had 3 broken bones and a bleeding artery, would you go to see a massage therapist, a chiropractor? No. You'd go to the trauma center because that's their job. That's not the chiropractor's job. Well, the chiropractor is a licensed physician, licensed and regulated by the state. They're a physician, but that's not their thing. By the way, I love chiropractors. They're worth their weight in gold. Love chiropractors. But you wouldn't go to them for trauma care or surgery, would you? No. Well, neither should you go to an MD if you have a chronic disease. You shouldn't. You should not. And the only reason that you do go to an MD when you have a chronic disease is because they own the monopoly. They're the king. And they've kicked everybody else off the bus of medicine. It's as if you have allowed McDonald's to come into your state and mandate that they're the only people that can sell hamburgers in your state. Nobody else gets to sell hamburgers. Only McDonald's. You wouldn't put up with that. But that's exactly what you've put up with in medicine. I'm a licensed naturopathic physician. I have been licensed to practice medicine for a quarter of a century. And in 34 states in the United States, 35 states in the United States and Puerto Rico, I'm not legally allowed to practice medicine. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't have a free medical market, and that's why you're sick and suffering. Because when you are up against a chronic health condition, your only choice is to go and see the MD, but the MD does not have what you need to get better. They do not. And so we go, one after the other, over the cliff, into the ditch, in a swamp that's on fire. Disease management brought to you by your MD. Fire your MD now. Tune into my show. For tuning in, appreciate you turning on. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health. Join the live stream, thedrgliddenshow.tv. Ebola, Ebola, Ebola. If I hear one more story about Ebola, my head's going to explode. And you don't know what you don't know, and most people, walking around have a very limited understanding of science. Most people have a very limited understanding from science. They get all of their scientific method of information from CSI New York and from ridiculous movies and TV shows which portray a biochemical world which is 100% out of step with the reality of the situation. So Ebola was first discovered, I believe, in 1971. First discovered in 1971 in Africa. So why is it all of a sudden a big scourge? Why is it all of a sudden like on the rampage? Why all of a sudden overnight has Ebola become a big freaking deal? And if it is in fact as big a bad voodoo daddy as everyone tells you that Ebola is, why did it take, 1971, that's 29 plus 14, 39, 43 years. Why did it take 43 years to reach the levels that it's reached now? And what exactly are the levels that it is now? And how do you even know that it's Ebola? Because the testing that they have for Ebola is not sensitive nor specific for Ebola. It doesn't test for Ebola. It tests for antibodies against Ebola, and there's a high level of false positives and false negatives there, just like Lyme disease. So if Ebola is this big bad voodoo daddy killer, without a conscience, that's just lurking in your child's lunchbox now, or apparently, then how come the entire continent of Africa the population of the continent of Africa hasn't been destroyed? Because we've known about it for, 44 years. Well, why hasn't everybody in Africa been decimated and destroyed by Ebola? Well, that's a good question, isn't it? The World Health Organization has no answer for that. And now they're trying to get you and everybody else in the world to take a vaccine for Ebola. Don't do it. By the way, nurses, which are in the trenches, in Africa and in other countries around the world where they are treating victims who, citizens of the United States or citizens of the UK or citizens of Switzerland or Sweden who were in Africa, got Ebola, and then they repatriated to their homeland and were treated in the hospitals in their cities. The nurses are saying, look, there's no cure for Ebola. We don't have a cure for Ebola. What do? We support and promote the body's own natural immunity. we support the body's immune system, keep our fingers crossed, and hopefully they will recover. And by the way, in the great Spanish flu pandemic after World War I, where a large percentage of the population, Earth's population, was destroyed by the swine flu, by the Spanish flu, there is a gathering body of information which believes that the virus that actually was responsible was created by the military in laboratories, in field laboratories, and that it was not a naturally occurring organism. It was a man-made created organism, the same way we believe Lyme disease is. Now, I don't know about Ebola, but I can tell you that historically when the Spanish flu wreaked havoc in the world, that it was the latter-day plague, the homeopathic hospitals of England, the homeopathic hospitals of the United Kingdom had an 85% success rate, in treating people with the Spanish flu and having them not die and having them have a full recovery. 85% success rate. The conventional medical hospitals of the day, 15% success rate. Now, which is better, 85 or 15? Well, 85 is. But if you listen to an MD now, they'll tell you that homeopathy is just hocus pocus and that it's just snake oil and that it doesn't work, even though 85% of the people affected with the world's biggest killer since the plague, the Spanish flu, were positively treated with it. That's one hell of a placebo effect, if you ask me. Ladies and gentlemen, the research needs to go, the money needs to go towards effective treatments that support and promote your body's natural immunity. And this is what we do all the time. This is the skill set that naturopathic physicians are trained in. This is the skill set that we bring to the table. This is our wheelhouse. If you want to know how to strengthen your immune system so that you can fight nasty bugs that are a part of the world, whether they're man-made or not, stick with us. I've got your back. I am the new sheriff in town. I am the red pill. Pop out of the matrix, snap out of it, wake up, dust yourself off, take your nutritional supplements, stop eating the 10 bad foods, and fire your medical doctor now. All right, if you're listening to terrestrial radio and you like what we're talking about, listen to the commercial breaks, because there are people in your receivership area, in that radio station's footprint, in your neighborhood, right, in your town, in your county, who are longevity members who are ready, willing, and able right now to help you. So call the number that the station gives out during the commercial breaks and get in touch with a longevity representative who is local to you to learn more about how you can work with us. And if someone invited you here, if someone told you to go and tune in to the Dr. Glidden Show and you like what you hear and you want to know more, get with them, because we exist as a worldwide coalition of the informed, hundreds, thousands of independent longevity distributors all around the world, standing up on a mountain, waving a flag, saying this way. Ladies and gentlemen, come this way. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, come this way. Support your local longevity distributor, because one of these days it's going to be you. And, what goes around comes around. You want to pay the system forward, and this is how we do it, by leaning on the people that exposed you to this message. If you found me all by your lonesome, if you were cruising the interwebs one night in your pajamas and you found one of my YouTube videos and you were compelled to learn more, then give my team a call, 855-347-3696, 855-347-3696. We will introduce you to the undiscovered country of science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition for the masses. Michigan's up first. Sherry has a question about migraines. Hey, Sherry. Is it Sherry? Did I get that right?
Yes, it's Sherry.
All right. Thanks for calling. How can I help?
Well, I called you not too long ago. I had 3 neck surgeries and fibromyalgia and gastroparesis, and I've had some spells going on, and the spells have come back, and I'm not exactly sure what it is, if it could be migraine-related or what it might be, but I've got tightness of my the right side of my face. Off and on, it's affecting my speech and my walking. It comes and goes. I had the same exact thing happen about a year ago. I was hospitalized twice for it, put through all kinds of scans and x-rays and you name it, blood tests, just a ton of stuff. And they told me it wasn't stroke. And they showed me what to do to test to see if it was stroke, like smile and
right.
No, and hold your arms out, all that stuff. And I don't seem to have that problem. But I have like severe motion sickness. Can't handle anything blinking. Can't handle riding in the car hardly because of the motion coming at me. It feels like it's like really super bad.
So you've been taking a medical nutrition program for how long?
I really have cut myself off in the last year or so from taking pretty much all prescription drugs. I was on Nexium when I was having the spells before.
Well, what about my stuff? What about longevity stuff? What about medical nutrition?
Well,
how long have you been doing that?
I received the minerals, but I haven't started taking them. I couldn't order all the products all at once. I'm expecting to get the majority of it tomorrow, which is the Healthy Start packs, the selenium, the minerals, and then maybe 2 or 3 days later get the Ultimate Daily and the Call Toddy.
Okay, well, look, here's the deal, and this is easy breezy, lemon squeezy, right? If there's a fire in your backyard, and you have a hose and there's water in it, you need to turn the hose on and put it on the fire, otherwise the fire's not going to go out. So you need to take the supplements, and you need to give.
I haven't gotten them yet.
Well, there's nothing I can do. I mean, I'm not magic, right? There's nothing extra for you to do here besides start taking the nutritional supplements as soon as they come. And once you've taken the nutritional supplements, generally speaking, our recommendation is that you don't judge the effectiveness or lack thereof of the program until you've been doing it for 90 days, 3 months in a row.
Okay.
So in the meantime, right?
Something that I decided to order that you didn't tell me to order. Is that something you would recommend for this?
What was that, selenium?
No, the Ultimate Daily.
Yeah, I wouldn't. It's not going to hurt you. The Ultimate Daily is not the first thing that I thought, nor the second or third thing that I thought, but the Ultimate Daily is not a bad thing to take. I would always lean on the advice that you get from the medical professional first before you start adding things to it. I think you're just a little nervous, right? You're nervous because this,
yes.
I mean, who wouldn't be? But we got to keep this in perspective. I mean, you have to throw the water on the fire to make the fire go out. You haven't even started the program yet, so
okay,
start the program and see what the heck happens.
I not recommend other selenium, but because I don't have the selenium until probably tomorrow, I have a brand of selenium. If I took that with the minerals tonight, would that possibly help with the situation?
Well, it's not going to hurt. I mean, I've seen remarkable improvements from medical nutrition in a remarkably short amount of time, but it would be a stretch to think that you're going to get anything remarkable in 12 hours from any of these products because, healing the body with nutrition is a process. You wouldn't expect to put a tomato seed in the ground on Monday.
Yeah, I know it sounds pretty stupid that I'm calling, but I guess the reason that I was calling was to try to. They're telling me to go to the hospital to be checked for a stroke. Well,
you did the same, but you did the same thing before.
Right.
You had exactly the same symptoms before. They ran up the bill on you, and they told you that you didn't have a stroke, and so they told you what to do to test for the stroke. You've done that on your own at home. You don't have a stroke, so if it were me, I would tell them to go pound sand, or I would call them up and make a deal and say, look, same thing happened to me 6 months ago. I came in, you did all this testing on me, it was all negative. I'm going to come in again, but here's the deal. Whatever you do, And if you do the same stuff and you do all this testing for me and you keep me in the hospital and you can't find a darn thing, I want you to refund all my money. I want you to give it all back to me. All back to me. I'll make that deal with you. I'll come in right now. But if you do exactly the same thing, run up $10,000 of testing, and you can't tell me a gosh darn thing about what's going on with me, I want all that money back.
Right.
Call them up, see if they'll do that. I bet you they won't.
I've lost all faith and trust in them, but I'm scared. I really am scared of my symptoms. What if I really am having a stroke? They could not rule out many strokes because there's too
well, welcome to planet Earth. I mean, this isn't the Starship Enterprise where we can put you down on a table and scan the body and tell you exactly what's happening every microsecond of every time. There comes a point in time where you just have to roll the dice. And you have to decide whom you're going to trust. You just have to roll the dice and decide whom you're going to trust. Given your history, given your current set of symptoms, I would advise you to stay away from conventional medical doctors and lean on the nutritional supplements as soon as they come. And remember, this is a process, not an event. So if you want to make yourself sleep better at night, do the testing that they told you to do a couple times a day and make sure that you pass the test with flying colors. Because they're going to do the same test when you go to the hospital. And if you want to make yourself feel better about it, put a white coat on, hang a stethoscope around your neck, and look at yourself in the mirror while you're doing the test, because maybe that will convince your brain that, this really is a real thing. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I know, and besides the fact, you got to worry about what you might pick up when you go there. I mean, my sister got MRSA when she went.
So look, just roll the dice in favor of medical nutrition. Keep your fingers crossed. Take the supplements. Call me back every 4 weeks. I'll look forward to it. You got to take the supplements, folks. I mean, that's common sense. Let's go to North Carolina and talk to Richard. Hey, Richard, thanks for hanging on.
Hey,
you are live.
Sure. This is for my daughter. What was it? Every time she gets these earaches, but it's because of her tonsils, and her throat sort of closes up on her and so forth. So, she has to take these pills. So I'd like to know what can she take on the supplementary part.
Well, I'm surprised the MDs haven't recommended she cuts her head off because, that would eliminate the problem, right? I mean, cut the head off, put her on the guillotine, no more problem, no more earaches. I mean, that's almost what they're going to recommend. If this continues, they're going to recommend that she has the 3-for-1. They're going to recommend that she goes in and they put her under general anesthesia. They stick tubes in her ears, they cut her tonsils out, and they cut her adenoids out. It's a big trend now in the world of MD-directed crazy treatments for kids. The first, second, and third thing to think about when someone has recurring ear infections, recurring throat infections, is that they're consistently eating food that's inappropriate for the body, number one. Number two, their immune system is weak. And number three, their body is lacking in the nutrients necessary to have a strong, active immune system. So what do? Number one, eliminate the 10 bad foods. Now, interestingly, with children or adults that have chronic ear infections, chronic throat infections, it's also interesting and often useful to eliminate 100%, in addition to the 10 bad foods, one more food, anything made from cow's milk. So no cow's milk, no yogurt, no cheese, nothing made from cow's milk. I would have her stay away from that stuff for a minimum of 6 months. 6 months, no dairy at all. And I don't mean eggs. Eggs are not dairy. Eggs are sold in the dairy section at the supermarket. But when I say dairy, I mean anything made from cow's milk. Okay? So 0 tolerance for anything made from cow's milk. And get some of the Longevity Colloidal Silver. Put 2 or 3 drops of the colloidal silver into each ear every 2 hours. Spray the back of the throat, the inside of the mouth, with a colloidal silver every 2 hours, and feed her a diet that's high in protein, like eggs, fish, rice, and beans together in the same meal, chicken. Nuts, anything that's high in protein except a dairy source. And last but not least, you got to fill her nutritional tank up. And, this is one-stop shopping with us. We have a generic foundation program for everybody, and that's the Healthy Start Pack. So my recommendation, 1 Healthy Start Pack, 2.0 liquid, and 1 bottle of plant-derived minerals per 100 pounds of body weight per month. That's a good place for this child to start. You can give her the cherry mints instead of the plant-derived minerals.
Oh, but the thing is, okay, listen, she's 30 years old.
Well, okay, so the same thing applies. Eliminate the 10 bad foods, no dairy, and the Healthy Start Pack 2.0 liquid, 1 of those, 1 bottle of plant minerals, and because of her age, 2 bottles of selenium per 100 pounds of body weight per month. And while she does have an infection, in addition to the colloidal silver, to give her immune system a real kick in the butt, have her do the Killer Biotic, 2 capsules of Killer Biotic 3 times a day until she's out of the woods. 2 caps of Killer Biotic 3 times a day until she's out of the woods. Check it out. Stay in your life. You tuned in to drglidden.com. That's right. Because this is where you can go to get information about real therapeutics developed by physicians trained in the holistic application of medical nutrition. You can get all our decades of advice for free. Is free good? When's the last time your medical doctor gave you anything for free? Oh, I remember. It was a prescription medication that the pharmaceutical company gave to them for free because the pharmaceutical company gives $50,000 of free stuff to every medical doctor in the country every year. Now, if that's not, shilling, I don't know what is, and that should be against the law. But remember, when you're the king, you can do whatever you want, and, everyone else can go pound sand. Alberta, Canada is up next. Selena has a general health question. Hey, Selena, thanks for the call. You are live.
Oh, thank you for taking my call, and thank you for educating us through YouTube and helping us through your program.
Oh, you're welcome very much. I'm happy that somebody had to do it, so I stepped up.
Well, I'm glad you did. I've got a few problems, and that's why I'm calling you.
Well, the first problem is you live in Alberta. You need to move to Florida. Come on now.
Okay, you tell me how, and I'll come.
Okay, I'm done being silly, Selena. I'm just going to shut up and listen to you now.
It's okay. So my first one is anxiety and depression.
Oh, yeah.
And my second one is I'm having tooth pain that comes and goes, and I've been to 2 dentists, and they can't find anything wrong.
Okay, that's a good
thing.
thing.
And I have lower back pain that originated from lifting something too heavy at work. And I also have some osteoarthritis. And my third one would be my thinning hair at the front of my forehead is sort of in the male pattern baldness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, are you an Edmonton Oilers fan or Calgary Flames fan?
Either one. I'm not. I do cross-country skiing in the winter, and I like hiking in the Rocky Mountains.
Wow.
But my doctor says now with my osteoarthritis going downhill just makes my knee worse, so I haven't been able to hike.
Well, okay, so he would be correct in that regard, but, he should have told you what you can do to support and promote healthy bones and joints, which he didn't. So, arguably here, the osteoarthritic problem, the low back pain, and the tooth condition are all arms of the same octopus. And these would all speak to calcium and magnesium and mineral deficiencies. Calcium, magnesium, and mineral deficiencies. Interestingly enough, one of the leading causes of kind of low-grade insidious anxiety is a calcium and magnesium deficiency. Isn't that interesting?
Oh, that is.
And,
yes.
yeah, a blood sugar issue is, of course, caused by multiple mineral deficiencies, with a lion's share there being vanadium and chromium. So I would hazard a guess, Selena, that you are walking, talking mineral deficiency human being, and that your conditions have been accelerated ironically, by the physical exertion that you do, So whenever you go out and climb a mountain, whenever you go out and cross-country ski, or whenever you go out and do anything physically, that's above and beyond just walking the dog around the block, it stresses the human body and burns through your nutrient reserves. Now, if you don't have any nutrients to begin with, or you're very, very low, the more that you exercise, the faster chronic diseases generate in your body. And that's exactly what's happened to you if I had to take a wild stab in the dark. And quite frankly, I would trust my stabs in the dark more than I would trust the definitive diagnosis by an MD. So the solution for this is easy. You have to eliminate the 10 bad foods and then do 1 Healthy Start Pack 2.0 liquid, 1 bottle of plant-derived minerals, 2 bottles of selenium per 100 pounds of body weight per month, and 1 bottle of Cal Toddy per month. That's 1 Healthy Start Pack 2.0 liquid, 1 plant minerals, and 2 selenium per 100 pounds of body weight per month, plus 1 bottle of Cal Toddy per month. Eliminate the 10 bad foods. Oh, you need glucogel as well. I'll tell you how to do that at the top of the next hour. Stick around.
Okay.